There is a color hack that makes you look radiant in your clothes, but not just that, it can also save you thousands of dollars in the process. It's what happened to me. And it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. Let me explain. So about a year ago, I discovered a color hack that completely changed the way I think about clothes. But it's not favorite color or something. What is actually my favorite color? I'd say beige, off-white, and green. Money's green. Anyway, this color hack did not just affect the way I buy clothes, but pretty much everything I buy. Like accessories, stationery, definitely a green theme here. Even interior design, so everything that involves color. Also tech and tech accessoires and stuff. So I hope you can already see how this affects my money, right? Because clothes and all this other stuff are one of our top spending categories aside from housing, food and transportation. So let's dive in. If we haven't met, I'm Sophia. I've been learning about money and investing for the past decade. And I keep learning and looking for ways how we can build wealth without living frugal. And one important part of that for sure is to not waste our money on things that doesn't suit us, right? And by the way, I also share those strategies in a free live web class. Just in case, if you want a shortcut, there's a link down below where you can sign up. So first, let me tell you the story of how I found this color hack. And then I'll show you how it works and how you can start using it for yourself. Alright, so I wasn't actually thinking about my wardrobe, but I was working on my business, or to be more exact, on this YouTube channel. I wanted to improve my videos so that my channel would grow, but even more than that it would allow people to not just identify with my content, but also with me and my vibe, if you know what I mean. And up until that point, I hadn't really thought about that stuff. I was just making content, thinking about what topic would be helpful for you. But then I did this course about YouTube. It's called the Part-Time YouTuber Academy from Ali Abdaal. Ali Abdaal is a former doctor, so like me, which is surely one of the reasons why I could identify with him. And he talks mainly about productivity, and he has grown his YouTube channel to over 6 million subscribers now. And he helped so many people be productive and improve their lives. And so obviously he's doing something right. So I bought this course, and one section in the course, by the way, if you happen to be a YouTuber or you want to start a YouTube channel on your own and you want to check out this course, there's a link down below in the video description. So one section was about the vibe of the channel, and one part of that vibe are the colors. And so they basically said to put some thought into the overall aesthetic of the channel as well, because it just helps people figure out, if it's their vibe or not. So if it's your vibe or not. So then at some point I started to research colors, brand colors, if you will. And because it's not mainly, it's always me in the videos and also in the photos and all, I ended up learning about color seasons. Now, color seasons are different color palettes that are based on eyes, hair, skin, and their features, which, by the way, is the exact reason this works for men and for women. And they are called color seasons because there are 4: summer, autumn, spring, and winter. But overall, there are 12 categories because there are subcategories in each of the seasons. And I swear, up until that point, I hadn't really heard about color seasons. Or if I did, I knew about complementary colors and all, from the art classes we had in school. But I didn't really know that this is something that applies to how you appear to people. And I definitely didn't know that I could figure out mine, let alone the impact that this would have on me. So I was hooked. I started to read articles. I watched a bunch of different YouTube videos about the topic. And all those sources, they kind of walked me through the process. And so for the very first time in my life, I figured out my color season. Oh my God, this was groundbreaking. And I'll tell you how I did this in a second. But once I knew my color season, suddenly I realized, or I had the framework of why I felt so good and comfortable in some colors and not so much in others. And also why some pieces in my wardrobe just ended up being not worn, or at least not as often as other ones. And now with that gained knowledge, I do feel my best in my clothes. I know exactly which colors to pick and which not to pick when I'm out shopping. And now the colors that I do wear, they match with all the other stuff I have, even when I do not particularly plan on it, if you know what I mean. So this was a huge advantage, and it saved me a lot of time and it saved me a lot of money. Especially now where I'm buying more expensive clothes and also more expensive accessories, than I used to in my early 20s. And now let me tell you how it works. So like I said, there are 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. If you know about this already, would love to know what your guess would be what my color season is. But I will reveal it later anyway. Okay, and then from those 4 seasons, you have 3 subcategories each: light and dark, cool or warm, and bright or soft. So this is for the theory. And then based on those 3 dimensions, they are called hue, value, and chroma. So hue is between cool and warm, value is between light and dark, and chroma is between bright and soft. And then based on these 3 dimensions, you try to figure out where on the scale of each of those dimensions your eye color, hair color, and skin features fall. Alright, now unfortunately it's not as easy as, okay, I have dark hair and dark eyes and therefore I'm that color season, or you have blue eyes, therefore you're that color season. It's a bit more complex than that because it depends on the undertones as well. Now, how you can use this for yourself. There are several different ways of finding that out. The way I did it is I read all those articles, I watched all those YouTube videos, and then I kind of did the exercises, as best as I can, being at home without all the equipment. So I just tried on different colors that I had at home, and then I looked into the mirror. And through this doing it by myself method, I came to the conclusion that I am a dark autumn. Now, when you do this, make sure to not put on any makeup. Ideally, you even hide your hair behind a white towel or another piece of fabric, and you also have a very white background. Also, ideally, you have natural light hitting your face. So, for example, in front of the window. So don't do it in the evening or at night. And then you can either just look into the mirror or you take pictures of yourself. And with those conditions, as I understood this, gives you the most accurate results. And then what you look for is basically how your face changes when you wear different colors. So some colors will make your skin appear more radiant. They will make your eyes pop, and they will make disappear the dark circles, for example, under the eyes or wherever there are dark circles in your face. And some other colors will make that worse, right? So the dark spots appear darker, your whole face appears pale, and also your eyes feel washed out. Or for me personally, sometimes it was just that feeling of, I look at myself and something feels off. Another way you can find out your color season is with a color season quiz. So if you just type that into Google, and then you will find a quiz that leads you through a couple of different questions and probably at the end has a result for you. And the professional way to do this would be to go to a stylist. So obviously that's the more expensive solution, because this will cost some money. But what they have is experience and also equipment. So they have these color analysis kits, which are all those different fabrics in different colors. And then they put them over your torso and they try each color on you to determine where on these dimensions that we talked about you are. So then based on the way you look. And there's actually a YouTube channel that I found where they dive deeper into this topic, and they also have guests where you can see how they work. And you can watch the analysis, and maybe you even find someone who looks similar to you. I'll link this channel down below. Now, obviously, there's a ton of more different videos on that topic out there. So if you're interested, just research a little bit and see what it's all about. Now, me, most probably being a dark autumn, what that means for me is that I do not look so good in bright colors. I definitely look more harmonious in muted colors. And like I said, this has changed my financial decisions, not just about clothes, but about anything I buy so much. For example, another aspect besides the bright colors versus the muted colors is jewelry. And gold just looks way better on my skin than silver does, which means I don't even look at silver jewelry anymore. And the same goes when I look for clothes, when I look for handbags, when I look for wallets, for scarves, even bed linen and cushions and stuff and porcelain. So really, this has affected everything in my home. And there, by the way, is one color in particular I don't look for anymore at all, which is blue. So I keep the few blue items that I have, or I go for a very, very dark navy blue that would work for me, or also a very, very muted blue. But other than that, I don't look for blue, because overall I just had confirmed that it's not my color, and it makes me just look, I don't know. It doesn't suit me as well. There's not that ease if you look at me when I wear something bright blue. And that's also why it's such a time saver, because each time I go through a mall, I pass all the blue things and I go directly for the off-white things or muted things or, you know, warmer, earthy tones. So now that I know my color season, I'm naturally drawn to the pieces, to the colors that match my season. And this saves time and it saves money. Especially wasted money, you know? When you see a piece, maybe you've seen it on someone else and it looked so great on that other person and you buy it for yourself, but then you don't wear it because it looks off. I mean, that's a waste of money, no? And also, by the way, if I'm not sure about a certain color, I have my color palette or different versions of a dark autumn color palette saved in my Pinterest. And then, not kidding, sometimes I go in there and see if the color is part of my palette. So if you don't know your color season yet, I hope you're inspired to figure out your own. Again, some resources are down below in the video description, as well as the link to sign up for my free web class. If you want some more unconventional tips on how to save money by getting the most out of your buck, I will link a playlist for you here. Now, happy researching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.